Yeah.
Modine was a friend of mine. We knew each other from acting class in New York and some auditions and stuff. And I think they were shooting already, and he'd come back to New York for a couple of days. He told me, or maybe he was just starting or something, I don't know, but he had been there already with you guys, and then he'd come back and he told me, we ran into each other on the street, he told me what he was doing, and you know, I didn't have an agent or anything, so I was just doing theater in New York and working in clubs, you know, as a bouncer. And he said, there's another character, but there was, you know, he hadn't read what it was, he didn't know what it was, but he knew that there was another character in the first half of the thing, and that first half of the movie, and that I should audition for it. So he said that Stanley was looking at tapes. So I rented a video camera. Back then, you know, to rent a video camera, you know, they were about this big. You know, yeah. So my friend Steve Marshall and I, we rented one, you know, and it wasn't just the camera. You had to get a deck too. You know, the deck was this big and the camera was this big. And so we sat on. I was doing a play at the time. I think I was on Broadway at the time, and I just did a monologue from the play on a stoop on 10th Avenue and 21st Street, and I sent it. And then somebody called me. I think Stanley called me, or somebody called me, and then I think Stanley called me, and then he said he wanted to meet. He was going to send me some words, and he sent me words, and he said to put those on tape. So I took the camera again, and I put all the words that he said he was going to send me words, and that's exactly what he did. There was no punctuation or anything. It was just like words, 2 pages. And I just and he said he said he wasn't going to tell me anything. Just put it on tape. And so I did that. And then he called me again a few weeks later, and we talked about the weight. And I think originally we thought I would have to gain like 30 pounds or so, but I put on the weight slowly when I was there. I came with about 25 pounds on, and then I just looked like I could kick everybody's ass. And then, so I had to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then so while they were shooting the Vietnam stuff, I was gaining more weight and learning how to march and all that stuff, and do monkey patrol with the rifles and everything, and following Lee Ermey's technical advising. And so that's how I got, I was hired over the phone. He trusted me. Yeah. And I showed up, and I shook his hand on set, and this guy was there, and Terry Needham, right?
Pardon?
The first was Terry Needham? Who was the first?
Yeah, Terry Needham.
Terry, yeah. He was a great guy, and he introduced me to Stanley, and Stanley shook my hand, and he said, welcome, and they were shooting the stuff behind the wall, when the guys are behind the wall, when they start going into the sniper at the end. That's what they were shooting. And that's when I arrived.
And so, obviously you're not any of that material. So are you just kind of watching how he works and eating?
I was learning how to be a Marine, yeah. I was, and eating, and watching Stanley. I mean, I was very... I was young, and it was my first movie, and I'd seen all of Stanley. My father had turned me on to all of Stanley Kubrick's films when I was very young, and I'd seen them all up to that point. And meeting Stanley was, I might as well have been meeting somebody from another planet. It was like I didn't know how to look him in the eye. I didn't know how to. I was just a young man from Brooklyn, by way of Miami, and I just, it was so bizarre to me, I can't tell you. And I just figured, I had been studying acting a long time. I'd proven myself in New York as a theater actor. I'd been up against some of the best teachers in New York, and I figured that if I just did my job and stayed out of people's way and, you know, didn't get fired, that it would, you know, I'd be okay, you know.
And it worked out that way.
Yeah, it worked out that way.
You didn't get fired, I think.
No.
Having just seen the movie, I guess we got to address Lee Ermey. Where the hell did he come from, and what was it like to have him screaming in your face when you were acting with him? He's a force of nature when he first comes on the screen.
Lee Ermey was a drill instructor, and he served in Vietnam.